Pumps me up every time, man.
I know. It's so good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Orange and Brew, the podcast where we made our two favorite pastimes, the Denver Broncos and beer. I am JT Matthews at JT Matthews01 on Twitter, and I'm here with the doctor, Nicholas Manning, at DR_Manning on Twitter as well. Our guy John is unable to be with us today, but we must carry on, and so you will see John again soon. But until then, Doc, how you been? How you doing?
I'm good. Going camping tomorrow.
Nice.
Why we're recording this pod at the dim of night. Dark of night.
I like both.
Yeah, I mean, sounds good to me. And then we just did Rocket Day. Little Cub Scout Rocket Day.
How was Rocket Day?
It was good. It was good. We found a way to use air compressors instead of shooting them off. So therefore, you don't have to worry about fire bans, wind, all that good stuff. So kids enjoyed it in the end. Big dub.
Yeah.
How are you?
Worked a little later than usual, so we also had brought some of the boys to join me. I was burning the midnight oil, so to speak, but I'm glad the kids had fun.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. You know, the Avs made some draft picks tonight.
They did.
So as much as excited as I am about the Nuggets, I'm also still excited about the Avs. We're only a year removed from a cup. You know, we had some injuries, some significant turnover. Losing Kadri left a big hole in that offense as far as scoring goes. So I'm excited to see, you know, them draft some young talent, kind of reload the pipeline, a la what the Nuggets are doing, have been doing with the draft the last few years, and see where that leads them. You know, at the very least, they get some trade assets and some young talent in the pipeline. So I'm all for it.
Yeah. You know what? At least the early returns, it seems, as reported by people that know the NHL draft more than I do, for sure. Seems like they did pretty well. Got a good skating defenseman, and then another guy that I think can contribute. You know, maybe tops out as a second line guy, maybe. But in the end, when you have the star power that the Avs do, it's kind of what you're looking for. Is they need some more depth in the waves. In their scoring punch, we saw that kind of fizzle out last year. Team got tired, so it's always nice to draft from the top, though, right? Where it's just you're adding pieces versus like we got to get the best players we can because we are terrible. Yeah,
I was watching Detroit make picks and listening to Steve Yzerman be like, "Well, we're still in the rebuild. You know, I like to tell you we're out of it, but we're not there yet. But we're working on it." You know, and it was like, well, I mean, he's saying the right things, right? He's not disenfranchising people by being way over the top, but also it's like, I'm glad we're not in that place. I'm glad the window still at least feels open.
Yep.
And you know, they made a trade to get Johansson from Nashville for a good cap hit. I think they've got probably a few free agents they're going to zero in on in the next 2 days. What I think the first is NBA and NHL free agency begins. Yeah. So we got some news to keep our eyes on for non-Broncos teams.
Yeah,
which is exciting.
Hey, you know what? When your teams are playing pretty well, you got to bask in it a little bit. You know, the Rockies were talking to you.
Yes. Unfortunately, I think that's an ownership issue more than anything. But I won't dive into that right now. That's for a whole other podcast.
Yeah, you know what? They are up 9-8 in the top of the ninth on the Dodgers.
Hey, you know, not losing 24 to whatever, 1-0, whatever it ended up being. I had a friend text me.
The Angels outscored the Broncos last season in all but one game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Phenomenal.
It's painful.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay, I'll say one thing: when you give away your best player, like we did with Nolan Arenado, the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, and then you fill that void with a guy who just can't stay healthy for some reason.
right.
But we're a Broncos podcast, and so we will move on then.
Yes, we will move on. Let's talk about KJ Hamler. Was cleared to participate in training camp Sounds like he's got a clean bill of health, or at least by the time camp rolls around, he will be healthy, which is positive. I want to get your take on that. I want to get how far it moves the needle for you as far as his availability and his ability to make this team.
Ability to make team. If he makes it through, that's interesting. If he makes it through training camp healthy, I don't know what you could get for him, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
Would it be worth flipping it for a sixth or a seventh or a pick swap, but like a late pick swap?
Mm-hmm.
It might be better just to hold on, which is sad news for maybe someone like Brandon Johnson. We talked about, Virgil.
Guy I like.
Yeah. Kendall Hinton, guys like that you think maybe can come and contribute, and who knows, maybe another undrafted gem out there. But, it always raises the floor. I'm rooting for KJ. I hope that he does. In the end, the Broncos benefit in some way, shape, or form, and so does KJ in his career. So it'll be tough to expect a lot early, I think especially if they're really wanting to see Marvin Mims a lot in some of the similar roles or route combos, etc. So I don't really know what to expect. I'm not sure how it's going to look for him. But like I said, if he's healthy, it's good news for everyone.
Yeah, I think I think we wanted that added depth last season. We never really got it. And not to say that we don't have that. We can't replace that with. I don't know. I just blanked the rookie Mims.
Yeah.
But I think it just adds depth to that room. I could see a scenario like a Trinity Benson scenario. A guy who goes out, is healthy, balls out a little bit, maybe plays above what you expected him to, and then you get a little bit of a pick swap and a trade scenario. Like I think Benson was a fifth and a seventh for Benson and a sixth or something. Yeah. Maybe something like that's in the cards for KJ. But who knows? I mean, maybe someone will value that if he really balls out and you get, I don't think you're going to get a third or second round pick, but maybe, if you do a swap, maybe you can get as high as a fourth just because of the potential upside when he's healthy. He was a second round pick. So there's obviously potential, just whether someone believes he can reach that potential or not.
Right.
It doesn't really move the needle for me. I'll be rooting for him to be successful in one way or another, whether that is with Denver or just, getting caught onto another team and making an impact there. I don't have anything against KJ. I think we all wanted him to pan out. This happens, we've been Broncos fans for a long time. We probably can't count on both hands the amount of guys that just careers have been derailed by injury. So, you always root for those guys. You always root for them to overcome and be able to at least have, whether it's a storied career or not, at least have some sort of career in the league.
I couldn't have said it better. So I won't. I'm not expecting a lot either. I think if they wanted or expected a lot from him, Marvin Mims probably isn't that draft pick. So maybe it surprises us, but I reserve to hold hope. But you know what? If he performs well, he gives them something difficult to think about. That's a good problem to have.
For sure. Agreed. Little piece of news I wanted to talk about. I guess it's not news, but more an article came out from PFF about the top 10 coaches currently in the NFL. And Coach Sean Payton was not listed within the top 10. Trevor Sikkema wrote the piece, or created the graphic. And I just wondered what your take on that was. If you agree, if you disagree, we can get kind of granular. Maybe we decide where in the pecking order Sean Payton goes if we feel like he's a top 10 kind of guy.
Yeah, I So looking at this list, so there is a list on pff.com if you have said subscription. I don't know if it's free. If not, I don't know. Anyway, but Andy Reid number 1, Bill Belichick number 2, Mike Tomlin number 3. Any issues with those top 3?
I don't think so. I mean, my heart wants to say Belichick's washed, but I don't necessarily think that's the case.
Yeah.
So I won't debate that.
Yep. Yeah, and I think you could if you go over career, right? I think it's hard to say that Bill Belichick isn't one, but right now, who's kind of holding it? I think it's a guy with the Lombardi Trophy and 3 trips to the Super Bowl in the last 4 years,
right.
And chip to the AFC Championship game in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I think so.
Ridiculous. So it's kind of like LeBron James-ish, right? It's like every year he's going to the conference finals at least, or whatever, the finals. So can't shake that one. So, and Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season.
I love Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, me too, man. Just a good coach. So moving on through the list, we got Kyle Shanahan at 4, John Harbaugh at 5, Sean McVay 6, Doug Peterson 7, Nick Sirianni at 8, Sean McDermott at 9, and Brian Daboll at 10. Where would you, if any, have an issue with that list?
I like all of these coaches. I think they are probably all in consideration for the spot that they're in. I don't know. For me, it's difficult. Like I wonder, and if we were choosing today, who's the best coach today? Mm-hmm. I think it's probably pretty accurate, just because Payton is a year removed from coaching. He was on the back burner for a little bit. Maybe that is some bias, some recency bias. You kind of move him out just because he's been out of the spotlight for a little bit. And maybe you're skeptical as to this roster construction. Maybe you're skeptical as to Russ as the starting quarterback for this team. I don't think that discredits him, though, enough to take him out of the top 10. I would probably have him 6, maybe. I mean, I would maybe put him 5, between 5 and 6, maybe one of those spots. Harbaugh, I mean, I don't have any issues with John Harbaugh. I think he's a great coach. I don't know if he's a better coach than Sean Payton. I would probably put him in that area for me. And then some of those other guys I like a lot. The Doug Petersons, the Nick Siriannis, I think they're good coaches. I don't know that they have the same track record or level of success. So at the end of the day, I'd probably stick him at 5 in that group.
Yeah,
and maybe I would bump Shanahan down, to be honest. I think Shanahan's great. I think he might be a little overrated in this list.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like he hasn't won. And
right, that's the biggest thing. I mean, you look at these other names, and it's there's rings, for the most part.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, John Harbaugh has one, Tomlin has one, Belichick has 5,
a lot.
6. Yeah. Andy Reid has 2. And 2 other trips. Sean McVay has 1. Doug Peterson has 1. That's kind of where the list ends. However, Kyle Shanahan has, made a chicken stew out of chicken, I guess. When Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy are your quarterbacks, essentially, and the ghost of when he gets hurt. The issue for me is the inability to be able to really have a plan back there. Trey Lance is kind of the plan, but maybe it's not the plan. That said, I mean, they're competing for opportunities to play in the Super Bowl every year. Sean McVay's, a couple of years removed from a year or whatever, removed from Super Bowl. So I don't know if I have issues with those. I think just because of the recency piece. However, when Sean Payton walked away, right? I mean, he hadn't had a losing season in quite some time, and even his losing seasons, the floor was 7-9. And some of these, other coaches have had significantly worse seasons. So I'd probably have him. I'd have him ahead of McDermott.
Okay.
I'd have him ahead of Daboll. I think Brian Daboll's done it for 1 year.
I
and
like
I think
Daboll, but
John
yeah,
McDermott
there's a
hasn't
lot.
been to a Super Bowl. I think
Right.
you saw it last playoff. I think even the last couple of times he's kind of got outdone, and really failed to capitalize on coaching a absolute alien at quarterback with a ton of defensive talent. I think John Harbaugh, that range, I would put McVay ahead of Harbaugh at this moment, even though last year was real rough. But we'll see. And I, probably a little bit ahead of Doug Peterson, just for longevity. But I think somewhere in there, give me 7 or 8, something like that. I think that would be where I'd want him. I really like what Nick Sirianni has done. We'll see with his coordinators leaving. But I think his ability to adapt and, humble himself to get the best out of his group, I think is really commendable and shows a coach who gets it. So I like it. I like what he's doing there. And that's where I think Sean Payton would go. He's only been out of the game a year. It's not like he, when we were having a conversation about Rex Ryan coming back, it's not like he's
right.
So, I think people forgot, it's recency bias for sure.
And looking at the list a little closer, I think you're probably more correct with that 7 to 8 range. I have a hard time with, tenure and, of course, those guys that have had long careers have been successful. I probably tend to value them a little bit more in the scheme of things. I will say, Peyton's been a coach for a long time and hasn't seen that much success as far as rings go. And so I think you can say, he's a winner, and I think he is, and I think he's a great culture guy, and I think he's a guy you want leading your locker room. But McVay's young. He's already seen success. There's probably a chance he'll see success again in the future. Sirianni the same way. He's got a chance to do it with the lead hat on, and we'll see what happens. But those guys are hot right now, and I think you can't. I think to diminish them would be a disservice, even though a guy like Sean Payton has more of a track record.
Right.
So I will concede. I'll concede. I do think Doug Peterson's maybe a little too high. You think he's a little too high?
Right. For right now, I mean, the bottom fell out in Philly, but he did a tremendous job with Jacksonville and rallying that group. So I think over time, Doug Peterson has been a really, really good head coach. So I think probably about there, to be honest with you, is pretty good. I think really Brian Daboll, I like Daboll. I think he's going to do a good job there. I think it's just he did it, they go 10 and they won a playoff game. So 11-5 or 11-7, 8.
Yeah,
math is hard. Not like, it wasn't like they tore through the AFC or the NFC East and march towards the Super Bowl. So to have him on that list, I think it's a little.
I'll give him full credit for getting for winning a playoff game with the quarterback situation they have. I'll just say that.
I concur. You know what? I think he's really good. I think a debate could be made. If it's based on last year. All right, it's fair, but it's not.
I'll never forget that Daniel Jones pick, the booze, all the booze, and he's won a playoff game for him. So I will, and he can run. The guy can run.
The guy can run. He'll stumble, but he can rumble.
That's right. Yeah. Speaking of stumbling and rumbling, I'm going to stumble into the next segment and maybe out of it, depending on how good our beer is. But it's time for beer time.
Beer time.
It is beer time.
It is beer time.
I couldn't be more excited. I say that every time. I think I probably, people are going to call me out and be like, I can't always be just as excited as the last time for beer time. But I'm excited, We didn't get a stout this time. It's okay.
I looked for one in my quick trip. There wasn't anything that I thought would be, appropriate for the pod. But
yeah, I mean,
and I will do it, and I will enjoy it. Maybe
you don't have to enjoy it. We just got.
I probably won't.
Yeah, I mean, we could have done a Guinness, but we've had.
But you've had a Guinness. Everyone's had a Guinness.
Everyone's had a Guinness. So we'll find some good stouts, some good dark beers that we haven't had. Just where wasn't in the cards this time. But Doc did snag us this beer here from 4 Sixes Brewery.
Yeah,
it's called
the old
Glory.
24. But if you multiply it, what's 6 times 6? 36 times.
Oh, yeah, that's too much.
But yeah, so I have not had a 4 Sixes yet. Never even heard of it before today.
Me neither.
Pretty excited about it. A Texas beer.
A Texas beer,
yeah. So this Hazy Session IPA is 4.8% alcohol by volume. It's a bold and hazy IPA brewed with mango, citrus hops, and Azacco hops. I feel like it's sad because I feel like people can just make that crap up. And and
they're making new ones every day.
You know what? I'm impressed. It's like get in where you fit in. And so let's see a little bit about 4 Sixes if I can find it. So 4 Sixes is a storied and respected ranch in Texas history. It was founded by Captain Samuel Burke Burnett in 1870 when he purchased 100 head of cattle wearing the 666, so fourth one, brand from Frank Crowley of Denton. So that's
little history.
Well, history.
I don't know any Texas beers except for I think Shiner Bock is a Texas beer, and I haven't had that for years.
Shiner Bock. Yeah, I went to their brewery.
Oh, really?
Yeah, visiting my buddy Eric's for his wedding, and that was part of our activities.
Well, good. I was right then, and I was afraid that I was wrong. So
no, it's a pretty good spot. They like you on your best behavior. So.
I used to enjoy a little Shiner Bock.
Yeah,
every once in a while back in the day.
Yeah, not too bad.
All right, so we're trying Texas beer. It does say easy drinking IPA with notes of citrus and pineapple. So I don't know how you feel about pineapple overall. Pineapple, I love pineapple. I don't know if I love it in my beer. We're about to find out. We're ready to pop this baby open.
I'm ready.
Let's pop it. 3, 2, 1. Oh, God.
Yeah.
This one's spewed a little bit. I thought I almost got it on my screen.
Everything is bigger in Texas, right?
That's right. For
smell
better or for worse.
Better or worse.
It smells. I get a little citrus out of that.
Yeah.
Getting a little citrus.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Huh. Oh, there is some on my screen. Hold on, I gotta wipe my screen down. Got a little splashback. My bad. Impressions. I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Clearly, I'm distracting today. I like it. It's subtle. If you didn't tell me it was an IPA, I may not have guessed it was an IPA. I would have probably said pale ale, which is like adjacent. It's in the same family, but it's real mild as far as the hops go. I do taste some citrus. It's a nice summer beer. I think it's fairly crushable. Actually, I did notice it's only 4.8 ABV. so it's not too high. You could drink a few of these bad boys, outside in the heat, and it'd be pretty refreshing. That's my takeaway. What's your takeaway?
I liked it.
That wasn't convincing.
I did. It was like I'm trying to get to the words here. I was expecting the pineapple to be a little bit more prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought the overall fruit flavor of it, I thought it was there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not overwhelming. But I think it meshed well with kind of the IPA, the hazy IPA hoppiness. So I think that they did a pretty good job. Now, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I'd like a little bit more ABV in that bad boy, but pretty good. Pretty good. I give it a small dub. Give it a small dub.
Small dub. It does have a weird little the fruit is not forward, and it's definitely in the aftertaste. I'm definitely getting sweetness after the fact. After I've swallowed the beer, I'm getting that sweetness on my tongue. I don't know what you can account that to. I'd have to ask someone who actually really knows beer. But I kind of like it. It kind of leaves, a lot of those hoppy beers leave a real bitter, heavy mouthfeel after the drink. This one's a little lighter. It's a little sweeter. The only thing I don't like, and I'm being very picky about this, so I will acknowledge that. This does not look. If I had picked this up off the shelf, I would say this is an amber, a lager, a porter. This doesn't look like an IPA can.
That is true.
Especially if you pineapple is one of your highlighting features, Just it doesn't all have to be the beach all the time, but this isn't an IPA can, So that's my only complaint. I'll give it a medium dub. Change the artwork. Maybe I'll give you a big dub. Like I said, I'm being petty today, so I will.
No, I mean it's not an attractive branding. It's really not.
No.
I mean, again, it's Grit and Glory is on the thing, so I guess if that's what you want, but for people outside of Texas,
it's got its own appeal, but it's definitely.
I got it because I hadn't heard of it. I didn't get it because I was like, oh, this looks like it tastes good.
Yeah. I mean, when you use super dark brown as your palette.
Yeah, you blind, can you even see that? Can you see that that's fruit? No,
I think they're hops. I don't even know what that is.
Get it up there.
I'd have to I think it's hops, but still, it's red hops, which is not a thing. I don't know what it is. It's not a thing.
Anyway,
but overall, W's. Good job, Texas. You won this round. Now, let's go talk about some more Broncos.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
We are in a little bit of a drought when it comes to Broncos news.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. It's coming. It's coming. But we're not there yet. So we're going to do a little activity, the Doc and I. We're going to do a draft, and we're going to do a snake-style draft of Broncos that you would want to rebuild a team with. So if you were to tear it down, you can keep 5 guys, 10 total between the two of us. Who would those guys be and why? And then maybe we'll put a poll up. We'll put it up on Twitter, see who you think had the better draft.
Yeah.
I will probably lose, but I'm going to put up a valiant effort.
You know what? Don't sell yourself short.
I
do think maybe you won the last one we did.
What was the last one?
I don't know. I'm just saying that. I don't really know if it's true.
I don't even know that we actually had one. So, but I appreciate your positivity and your kind words. Who's going to start? Do we have a good way to choose this?
Well, it's my game.
Okay, all right. So you choose, or
So I'll go first. So you get to go second and third, and we'll kick it back that way.
Fine.
If I were to start
I'm mad. I'm just gonna say I'm mad about it. Okay.
Are you?
I'm mad because I know exactly who you're taking, and I'm mad.
No, you don't know. You don't know. All right,
really.
I'm gonna.
The one rule. Hold on, the one rule was no quarterbacks, so
No
we're
quarterbacks.
keeping quarterbacks off. I don't know that we would have picked Russ probably at some point, but
Probably.
no quarterbacks. That's the only caveat.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like, all right, take Jared.
I guess I'll take the team without a quarterback.
Yeah,
That's weird.
Danucci. I'm gonna go with Pat Surtain.
Yeah.
He's I almost didn't. I almost tried to get like, where you just like overthink the number one.
I would have loved that.
Yeah. But kid's a ascending all pro already.
Mm-hmm.
Why if it broke, don't fix it. That's my motto.
It's one of those things like too, it's such an important position. Like I think a premier cornerback is one of those that you pay for, that you hope that you land in every draft. You take outside shots at guys that have upside potential so you can find that guy if you're not taking one of the top guys. It just is it's a bit of a no-brainer, unfortunately for me, because that's who I would have picked and that's who I wanted. And you probably won the draft just from that.
Nope.
So,
not going to give myself all that credit yet.
All right. I'm trying to think of this in multiple ways, right? I'm trying to decide. I have two levels of thought. Best available player, which is like a normal draft strategy, or young upside, which is the other draft strategy. And I don't know which way to go with this. Part of me wants to just be like, oh, yeah, best to play available every time. You know what you're getting. But, if you're rebuilding a team, you want to do a rebuild with young talent generally that you feel like can elevate. You might have one or two vet guys in there, but really you're going young. I feel like the guys I want to take that are young are still a little too unproven. So I'm just going to go Justin Simmons and be safe for my first pick. It is a safe pick, but it's a Pro Bowl caliber player, a perennial Pro Bowl talented player. Guy that creates turnovers, one of the few guys in the last few years that has created turnovers for this defense. And that's a key to winning games. It's not necessarily a premier position, so I struggle with that a little bit. But, when you got a top 3, top 5 guy at the position, I don't think that ever makes it a bad pick.
No.
It just may not have the highest end value. But, I mean, can you go wrong with Justin Simmons?
No.
I don't think so.
No, that's what I would have. Done. Not gonna lie. So, well done. I'll give it to you now. It wraps back around, so you get.
I get it again.
Who is your second player that you would like to add to the JT roster?
I wonder if it's, I think it just has to do with our roster construction. But it's interesting that we did both pick defensive players first. It
is something.
I think it just happens to be where we have the best players, but maybe it's maybe we feel more strongly about the defense than the offense. Maybe deep down it's saying something about us. Man, this one's hard. I have guys that I like. I don't know positionally if they feel like they're worth it at this point. But I'm just going to pull the trigger, I don't want to think too hard about this. I'm going to take Quinn Miners.
Oh.
I'm going to take Quinn Miners because I think he, especially on the offense, maybe of any offensive player we have right now, has the most potential upside. It does seem like an odd pick, a guard. It's not a sexy pick. It's not a premier position again. But if I'm thinking upside, if I'm thinking a guy I want to build around, he's definitely squarely in that picture as far as this roster goes. I don't think anyone would, have him outside of, their top 10 players on this team, as far as maybe not fully with his on the field presence and play yet. But as far as, his potential and upside and flashes that we've seen, I think you got to take a chance on a guy like that. So I'm going to go I'm going to go with Quinn. I'm going to go with the belly, and, me and him are similar in that way. So I feel like I have a brother at arms already on this team.
I like it. You know what? That's good. I'm gonna see your guard and raise you one. So I'm gonna go ahead and take with my second pick. I'm gonna take Ben Bowers.
I considered it.
Who is still only 26. So I think you did a good job of taking a player with some upside. That's for sure, especially on the offensive line. And then I'm gonna follow that upside by taking Jerry Ronaldo Judy.
Actually, Ronaldo? I was like, is that really his middle name? That would be cool, actually. I wish I had known that.
Yeah, I don't think that it is.
I'm gonna look at it.
I'm checking it right now. It's Devarius, which is also a super dope name.
Not as good as Ronaldo, but
it's he probably could have pulled it off.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's my third selection. Second on offense. So start with the defense, wrap back around. Ball's in your court.
All right. I got back-to-backers.
Yeah.
Man, I'm putting all my eggs in this young man basket. Okay. So I'm letting you know right now. Has nothing to do with positional value. Has everything to do with upside. I'm going Greg Dulcich, tight end with wide receiver type ability. Guy that's going to stretch the field. A guy that's going to be a weapon in the middle of the field, assuming Russ throws down the middle of the field this season. Maybe on the outside too. I think he's diverse. You can move him around. He's a guy that, again, upside is great. Potential is great. People are excited about. Very marketable. We've talked about that before. A guy I think that people want to see succeed. So I'm throwing him in that camp. And I'm going to add a rookie. I'm going to add Drew Sanders.
You son of a...
I know. I just think, as far if he has the pass rushing skills that we think he does, that's a premier position, a premier impact kind of guy. We'll see what that upside overall ends up being, but talk about a guy that you want to root for, a guy that you want to go out and play with. He side to side is quick. He can cover every area of the field. Is a crazy super athlete. I've got to go upside. I got to go upside with Sam.
Yeah, that's a good pick right there.
Thank you.
For
the record.
They were both really good.
Thank you.
I'm going to stay on the offensive side of the ball.
All right.
Even though I had some doubt that this person would be able to come back strong from injury quickly, I think I might be wrong. We'll see. He's only 23 years old. I'm going to go with running back Javonte Williams.
Okay.
I think, probably if everyone's healthy, is he the second, third, fourth best player on the team? I think that there's some debate about where he sits, but overall, a really good player. So I'm going to vote on youth, or I'm going to bet on youth, and that he's going to be able to come back and do so healthy. So that's my guy.
Okay,
My next pick. I had a couple choices. I wasn't really sure where to go. I'm actually going to go Zach Allen here. Okay. So he's only 25. Seems to be ascending as the ability to play inside and outside. It's a rush passer from a traditional kind of interior 5-tech or defensive tackle position, or he can kick outside, stand up, and rush from the edge. 6'4", 285. Again, like I said, only 25 years of age, has been in the NFL for 5 years and coming off a pretty good season. So I do believe that kind of rounds out. I was really having a tough time with who I was going to go with right there, and I don't want to cue you on who I left off, but
That's
I will close my draft with that wonderful, fantastic selection.
Unless I select them.
Unless you
I'm deciding if I want to go for the win or if I want to go for fun. And what kind of guy am I today? That's the real question.
That is.
I don't know.
I like it.
There's some fun young guys that would be exciting to hold on to see if you could develop. Guys that probably in the pecking order may or may not get a shot. I think guys that have like super high exciting traits, but may not get to show it because the guys in front of them are maybe a little more complete. I want to, and of course, like I always want to take JL Skinner, but I got Justin Simmons, so I'm not going to go that direction because that's my dude. Hey. We all like our guys. We all like our guys. That's not who I'm taking.
It's true.
For the record, but I did consider. I think I got to go with the vet. I just can't decide on what side of the ball I want to go.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to go, because this is my last pick.
That is true.
I got to get a little bit of wisdom and experience.
You're kind of split. You've done a pretty good job here.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I think I'm going to go with Randy Gregory.
Oh.
I think I'm going to go with Randy Gregory. Again, another guy, like if you want high upside, a guy that's got some time in the league. He's not like a wily old vet, but he's got some reps. He can play. He can be productive if he's healthy. I don't like taking an injury-prone type of player, but I'm hopeful that he won't be. And so, I think as far as impact on a team, I think given the guys that we have left, he's probably at the top end as far as potential impact on the field this season. And so ultimately got to go with a guy who can get a little pass rush. Again, can cover the field in multiple areas, can get side to side, run down guys, get on all the levels. So that's my final pick.
No, I'm a Randy Gregory apologist. I like Randy Gregory, which is interesting because he went to Nebraska, not a fan, then played for Dallas.
Yeah.
But I like the guy. I'm rooting for him and hoping that he can produce as a Denver Bronco. But I don't know. I'm surprised you didn't go Baron Browning. Surprised you didn't go Ohio State Buckeye.
I wanted to, and I considered it. I felt like if you're going body of work versus body of work between the two, Gregory and Browning, I had to go Gregory. Even if I felt like Browning may have a little bit more upside. And I don't know if that's true. I think he's still a little bit in project mode. Anyway, sorry, I'm not trying to hijack your pick.
No, I mean, you're not. It's not my pick.
Okay, good.
It's not my 5. So my 5 to revisit for for our listeners here. So I got on offense, I got Javonte, Jerry Jeudy, Ben Powers. On defense, I got Zach Allen and don't call me Patrick Surtain.
I like it.
I don't know. He might be able to call him Patrick. I'm not sure. I haven't asked him.
He may be into that. You never know.
You never know.
And I've got Pro Bowler Justin Simmons. I've got future Pro Bowler Quinn Miners. Future Pro Bowler Greg Dulcich. Randy Gregory, and who am I missing?
Drew Sanders.
Thank you.
I need to redo my introductions. I have all-pro player, Pat Surtain. I have Angry Runs winner, 9 times, Javonte Williams.
Yeah, carry 5 guys, runner.
Wonderful 6-game stretch, Jerry Jeudy. Ben, I can crush your face on a pole, Powers.
Ben, powerful Powers.
Yeah, and Zach, replicate my game after J.J. Watt. Oh.
I like it. I like it. I think you won if we're going based on that. But
I don't know. I mean,
I just said future Pro Bowler a lot.
Yeah,
it wasn't
that's
really
really
inspired, you know.
That's really good. But for those first three for sure.
I think the first three.
I think Dulcie could get there. Like
100%.
Travis Kelce has to retire at some point, and then the rest of the AFC tight ends can get an opportunity.
That's right. Well, thanks for participating in that and coming up with a cool game. I enjoyed that.
I mean, it was fun.
And I think my team's going to win when we do the poll. So I'm excited to put that up tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll find
after
out.
After this airs. Normally we would be doing this live. Unfortunately today, just due to scheduling, we had to pre-record. But of course, we appreciate you if you dropped into the live. Always catch us on our podcast feed, Orange and Brew podcast. We love the interaction. Reach out to us. Hit us up. Let's talk about beer. Let's talk about football. Let's talk about anything sports related, especially Denver sports. We're into all of it. So you won't find any more enthusiastic sports fans than we have on this show. But thank you again. We appreciate you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit